Hey, my dear friends! Welcome back to another episode that might change the way you think about learning English forever. Have you ever looked at a small child, maybe your nephew, niece, or even your own kid, and thought, wow, how did they learn to speak so fluently without going to any grammar class or memorizing vocabulary lists? Why does it feel so effortless for them? And yet, for us adults, learning English, or any language, feels like climbing a mountain. We stress over grammar rules, get stuck on vocabulary, and feel embarrassed when we make a mistake. But guess what? The secret to learning English naturally like a child is to think like a child. In this video, we're going to dive deep into what that really means. We'll break it down step by step, talk about how children learn languages, what makes their brains so different, and, most importantly, how you can copy that same process to speak English more fluently, more confidently, and more naturally. So sit back, relax, grab a notebook if you want, and let's talk heart to heart about learning English the natural way. Why children learn languages faster than adults. Let's start with this. Why do children learn languages so fast and easily? It's not magic. It's not even because their brains are better. It's all about how they use their brains. Here are a few secrets about how children learn. They're not afraid to make mistakes. They learn through listening and watching, not by memorizing. They repeat words many times naturally. They learn in context, not in isolation. They enjoy the learning process. So if you want to speak English like a native, or at least comfortably and naturally, you need to follow these 5 secrets. But how? Let's go deep into each one. Secret number 1. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. This is the biggest one. Children make thousands of mistakes when they learn to talk. They say goed instead of went. They say I eated instead of I ate. And guess what? Nobody laughs at them. Nobody scolds them. People correct them gently, or sometimes they just ignore the mistake. But here's the difference. Adults fear embarrassment. We think, if I say this wrong, people will laugh at me, they'll judge me, I'll look stupid. That fear becomes a wall, and behind that wall, English cannot grow. So if you want to learn English like a child, the first rule is give yourself permission to sound like a child. Say it wrong, make mistakes, forget the word, mix up the grammar. It's okay. In fact, it's necessary. Fluency is not about perfection. It's about communication. Children don't aim to be perfect. They just want to be understood. So from now on, make it your mission to speak, even if it's wrong. That's how you'll get better. Secret number 2. Learn through listening, not memorizing children. Learn language by listening to people talk all around them. At home, in school, on TV. They just absorb it. They don't sit with a notebook and write, present perfect tense equals have plus V3. They hear it, over and over, and slowly their brain understands the structure. So how can you do the same? Here's the plan. Listen to real English every day, but not boring textbook English. Real, natural English. Podcasts, YouTube channels, audiobooks, TV shows, movies, conversations, whatever you enjoy. Don't try to understand every word. Just listen. Your brain is smarter than you think. It will start catching patterns. Focus on sounds and rhythm. Children don't understand words at first. They understand tone, voice, and rhythm. You should do the same. The more you hear English, the more your brain will start to naturally copy the way it sounds and feels, just like a child. Secret number 3. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Do you remember how kids learn to say mama? It's not one-time learning, it's constant repetition. Children repeat words dozens, maybe hundreds of times, before they use them properly. But adults want to learn a word once and expect to remember it forever. That's not natural. So what should you do? Choose a few useful phrases. Repeat them out loud many times every day. Use them in different ways. Let me give you an example. Let's say the phrase is, "Can you help me with this?" Now use it. Say it while cooking. "Can you help me with this onion?" Say it to your friend. "Can you help me with this app?" Say it in your head. "Can you help me with this problem?" Use it again and again until your brain says, "Ah, I know this one." That's how real learning happens. Secret number 4. Learn in context, not isolation. Children don't learn words from a list. They learn words in situations. They see a ball and someone says ball. They fall down and someone says oops. They see a cat and someone says look, a kitty. This is called context learning, and it's the most powerful way to remember English. So how can you apply this? Instead of memorizing 50 vocabulary words, try this. Watch a short English scene, movie clip, vlog, podcast. Write down 3 to 5 words or phrases that are used in context. Replay the scene. See how those words are used. Try to use them in your daily life. If the scene is about ordering coffee, learn, "Can I get a small latte?" For here or to go? That'll be $5. These phrases are glued to a real-life moment. Your brain will remember them because they're connected to meaning. Secret number 5. Enjoy the process. This might be the most underrated secret. Children learn through fun, singing, playing, talking, laughing. But adults make language learning feel like punishment. Grammar books, exams, pressure, fear. That's not the childlike way. If you want to learn English naturally, make it fun again. Watch your favorite shows in English. Sing along to songs, even if your voice is bad. Talk to yourself in English. Make funny mistakes and laugh at them. Create a small English journal and write anything you like. The more joy you bring to your learning, the faster you'll improve. Joy creates energy. Energy creates consistency. And consistency leads to fluency. Real-life examples. Let me tell you a quick story. My friend Rahul from India used to struggle with English for years. He knew grammar. He had read many English books. But when he tried to speak, his mind went blank. He joined an English speaking course, but still no confidence. Then he changed everything. He stopped studying and started listening to English podcasts every morning while brushing his teeth. He started watching English cartoons with subtitles. He practiced 5 phrases every day while walking. And he made it fun. He even made jokes in English with his dog. After 6 months, something changed. His sentences flowed. He didn't think so much. He just spoke. That's the power of learning like a child. How to start today. Your daily natural learning plan. If you're serious about learning English naturally like a child, here's your 5-step action plan. Start with listening, 30 minutes a day. Choose an English podcast or YouTube video. Listen casually. Don't pause. Let the words flow over you. Choose 3 phrases per day. Pick 3 natural phrases you heard. Write them down. Repeat them throughout the day. Talk to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing. I'm making tea. Now I'm washing my face. I'm feeling sleepy. This is how children learn, by connecting words with action. Watch English content with subtitles, preferably short content, 5 to 10 minutes. First with subtitles, then without. Celebrate small wins. Said a sentence perfectly today. Celebrate it. Understood a movie scene? Celebrate it. Made a mistake and laughed? That's a win, too. Going deeper. Immersion at home. Imagine turning your home into a mini English-speaking world, just like a toddler's world is saturated with language. You don't need to move abroad. You only need to design your daily surroundings. Label everything. Put sticky notes on objects, door, window, remote, fridge, and read them aloud each time you see them. This repeated visual audio link is exactly how kids connect words to things. Switch device languages. Change your phone, apps, and social media to English. You'll start absorbing terms for settings, notifications, subscriptions, and more without studying lists. Create an English corner, a small space with English books, flashcards, posters, and even a mini whiteboard. Whenever you pass by, spend 30 seconds reading a sentence or drawing a quick doodle and labeling it in English. Play background audio. Keep an English podcast or radio quietly playing while you cook, clean, or exercise. Your brain will pick up intonation and connect words to activities. By surrounding yourself with English, visibly and audibly, you replicate the rich, constant exposure that children enjoy. Shadowing, mirroring native speech. Children don't only listen, they mimic. You can too, with a powerful technique called shadowing. Pick a short audio clip. It could be from a children's story, a podcast intro, or a movie line. No more than 30 seconds. Listen once for meaning. Don't pause. Just hear the gist. Who's speaking? What's happening? Play it again and speak at the same time. Try to match the speaker's rhythm, intonation, and mouth movements. Your voice should literally shadow theirs. Don't worry about perfect pronunciation. Feel the melody of the language. Over time, your mouth and brain will sync to natural English patterns. Shadowing is intense but immensely effective. It trains your brain like a baby imitating sounds before words even form. Playful interaction, learning through games. Children learn through play. You can harness this. Word scavenger hunt. Write or print a list of 10 to 15 simple words. Hide objects or pictures around your home that represent those words. Race against yourself or a friend to find and name each item in English. Role play scenarios. Pretend you're ordering food at a restaurant, booking a hotel room, or buying groceries. Act it out with a friend or record yourself. Use props, menus, money, backpacks to make it vivid. Story building game. Start with one sentence. Once upon a time, there was a curious kitten named Luna. Then add another sentence. Keep going for 5 to 10 sentences, alternating who adds next. This forces you to think in English, build narrative naturally, and laugh at creative twists. Language apps with a twist. Rather than mindlessly tapping answers, speak your responses aloud. Treat the app like a fun coach rather than a classroom drill. By injecting play, you reduce stress, boost motivation, and make your brain associate English with enjoyment, just like a child at playtime. Building vocabulary organically. Instead of massive word lists, let's grow your vocabulary like a garden. Thematic mini bursts. Choose a theme each week: kitchen, weather, emotions, travel, health. Whenever you encounter a new word in that theme, jot it in your theme journal. At week's end, review only those 10 to 15 words in context. Use your senses. When you learn fragrant, sniff a flower and say, "This rose is fragrant." When you learn crisp, bite an apple and say, "This apple is crisp." This sensory anchoring cements meaning. Mind maps. Draw a central image, Say a car and branch out related words. Engine, tire, fuel, dashboard, tailpipe. This visual web reflects how the brain organizes concepts naturally. Sentence planting. For each new word, write or speak 3 different sentences. For fragrant. The fragrant coffee woke me up. She loves that fragrant perfume. The kitchen was fragrant with garlic. These activities mirror how children learn word families and categories through play and exploration. Tackling the plateau. Keeping momentum, every learner hits a plateau, a period where progress seems to stall. Children don't notice plateaus. They just keep babbling until words appear. You can adopt the same attitude. Change the medium. If you've been watching videos, switch to podcasts. If you've been reading, switch to listening to audiobooks. Increase challenge slightly. If simple children's shows feel too easy, try teen or adult content with subtitles. Stretch your comfort zone incrementally. Revisit old content. That boring news clip you heard months ago? Listen again. You'll understand more now, and that sense of progress fuels motivation. Track micro wins. Log every sentence you spoke in a conversation, every awkward mistake that got corrected, every new idiom you understood. Over time, this log becomes proof you're improving, even when it doesn't feel like it. By maintaining curiosity and flexibility, you'll break through plateaus much faster than with rigid study routines. Connecting with real people. Confidence through conversation. Children learn language in community, parents, siblings, friends. You need that too. Language exchange partners. Find a friend who wants to learn your native language. Spend half the time in English, half in your language. Focus on authentic chat. Talk about hopes, silly stories, daily life. Online communities. Join an English-speaking book club, Discord chat, or Facebook group on a topic you love. Ask questions, share opinions, post voice notes, mini presentations. Prepare a 1-minute talk about your day, record it, then replay. Notice areas to improve, but also celebrate the fact that you spoke freely. Feedback protocols. Ask your partner or group to gently correct only major errors that block understanding. Too many corrections overwhelm you. Children often get only essential corrections. Conversation is the crucible where passive knowledge becomes active skill, and confidence skyrockets. Embracing your accent uniquely. You children first imitate exactly, but then they adapt language to their voice. Your accent is part of your identity. Celebrate your accent. It's a bridge between your culture and English. Never aim for neutral unless you want to be an actor. Aim for clarity, not perfection. Focus on being understood. If someone asks, "What?" try again with slight modifications, slower pace, emphasis, rather than chasing a perfect phoneme. Shadow local accents when helpful. If you admire British or American pronunciation, shadow clips from speakers you enjoy. But maintain your natural rhythm where it feels comfortable. By accepting your accent as an asset, you speak with authenticity and confidence, qualities that children naturally embody. Using technology smartly. Technology can be your playful learning playground. Voice assistants. Ask Siri or Google Assistant simple questions in English. Practice pronunciation and comprehension. Interactive subtitles. Use tools that let you click on any word in a subtitle to see its meaning. Then replay that line until it feels natural. Speech to text practice. Speak into a notes app and see how accurately it transcribes you. The errors show where to focus. Language learning games. Many apps gamify vocabulary and grammar. But don't just tap. Say your answers out loud, dance around the room, laugh at wrong answers. Keep the childlike spirit alive. Tracking your journey. Celebrate every step. Children never say, "I've learned enough." They're curious every moment. You can track your own journey, a simple notebook log. Each day, write one new sentence you said in English that made you proud. Weekly reflection. Spend 5 minutes on Sunday listing 3 things you understood better than last week. Monthly showcase. Record a short video or voice note of yourself telling a story or reading a paragraph. Compare it with last month's recording. By visibly tracking growth, you stay motivated and remind yourself that you're learning naturally, step by step, just like a child. Storytelling, your personal English fairy tale. Children hear stories everywhere: bedtime tales, picture books, cartoons. You can become both the storyteller and the listener. Personal mini stories. Every day, pick one small moment: your morning coffee ritual, a funny thing your pet did, and tell it in English as if you're narrating a children's book. Example: Once upon a time, a sleepy cat named Whiskers decided to sit in my mug of coffee. He looked at me with big green eyes and said, "Meow?" And I said, "Not today." Dialogue practice. Write a short dialogue between two characters, maybe you and a friend, or even between two toys. Then act it out aloud, using different voices. Illustrate and label. Draw 3 simple frames of your story. Stick figures are fine. Under each, write 1 or 2 English sentences describing the scene. Children link visuals and words seamlessly, so should you. Telling your own stories cements vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation in a meaningful, memorable package. The rhythm of rhymes and songs, nursery rhymes, and children's songs are repetitive, rhythmic, and full of simple vocabulary, perfect for natural learning. Choose a simple song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, or any catchy tune in English. Sing along daily. Even if you don't hit every note, the repetition trains your mouth and ear to English sounds. Create your own verses. Swap words in the song for new vocabulary you're learning. Original: Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Your version: Old MacDonald had some tea, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm, he drank a cup, E-I-E-I-O. This playful creativity lights up the pleasure centers in your brain. Just like playing with blocks or coloring. Cultural immersion. Beyond language. Children absorb culture along with language. You can too. Celebrate English language holidays. Learn about Halloween, Thanksgiving, April Fool's Day. Try small traditions. Make pumpkin cookies in October. Share a funny prank on April 1st. Read simple English stories about everyday life. Comic strips like Peanuts or illustrated children's books, Dr. Seuss, Sandra Boynton, expose you to colloquial speech and humor. Cook a recipe in English. Follow an English language recipe video. You'll learn kitchen vocabulary and context. Whisk, fold, sauté, garnish. By linking language to culture, fun customs, humor, food, you create emotional hooks that make words stick. Mindfulness and language learning, children learn in the present moment. They're fully immersed. You can practice mindfulness to bring your brain into that childlike state. 5 senses check-ins. Take 1 minute to notice 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you touch, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste, naming each in English. I see a green plant. I hear traffic outside. I touch this soft scarf. Mindful listening sessions. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Listen to an English audio clip without multitasking. Notice intonation, mouth shapes, pauses, affirmations in English. Speak positive statements about your learning. I am curious and fearless. Every mistake brings me closer to fluency. I enjoy speaking every day. Mindfulness calms your inner critic, just as a child isn't self-conscious when speaking for the first time. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Even childlike learning has traps. Here's how to sidestep them. Pitfall, childlike fix. Obsessing over grammar rules. Focus on communication. Learn grammar from context. Skipping listening practice. Commit to daily passive listening, podcasts, radio, even while doing chores. Isolating study sessions, blend learning into play, chores, and hobbies. Fear of speaking aloud. Talk to inanimate objects or pets first. No judgment zone. Stagnation after beginner progress. Increase input complexity gradually. Short stories, news clips, TED Talks for kids. By anticipating these pitfalls, you keep your childlike curiosity intact and maintain steady growth. Advanced shadowing. Moving from syllables to sentences. You've tried basic shadowing. Now let's level up. Sentence chopping. Break a 60-second clip into 6 10-second chunks. Master each chunk by shadowing until you can do it twice as fast as the clip before returning to normal speed. Emotion amplification. Choose a dramatic monologue, movie trailer, motivational speech. Shadow it with feeling, anger, joy, sadness. This trains you to use emotional nuance in English. Mouth mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror while shadowing. Observe your lips and tongue. Mimic the shapes you see. Children watch and imitate constantly. You can too. This advanced practice sharpens not only your pronunciation, but your expressive range. Daily English Playdate schedule. No strict timing, just playful habits you can sprinkle into any day. Morning stretch, 3 minutes. Label your body parts in English as you stretch or do yoga. Commute karaoke, 5 minutes. Sing a song or speak a short paragraph on the bus train. Coffee break chat, 2 minutes. Describe your snack or drink in vivid English detail. Afternoon doodles, 5 minutes. Sketch and label whatever's around you. Plant, laptop, coffee mug. Evening story recap, 4 minutes. Summarize one vivid moment of your day as a 2-sentence story. These micro playdates keep English alive without feeling like study. Your childlike learning pledge to seal in this mindset shift. Make a simple pledge you can remind yourself of every day. Write it on a sticky note. Stick it to your mirror and read it out loud each morning. Today, I will listen like a child, speak without fear, play with words, and learn through joy. Feel free to customize it with personal touches, your name, favorite emoji, or a doodle. This pledge becomes your mantra, guiding you back to the child's curious heart whenever you feel stuck. We've covered immersion hacks, shadowing techniques, storytelling magic, mindful learning, pitfalls to dodge, and playful daily routines. At this point, your inner child is fully engaged, and your adult mind has the structure it needs to solidify each new skill. Remember, learning English naturally is not a race, it's a grand adventure. With each playful step, you're not just memorizing, you're living the language.
Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I want to share something that completely changed my life. How I learned to speak English naturally, just like a child. No textbooks, no pressure, just pure learning. Like play, like curiosity, like how a baby learns to speak for the very first time. But trust me, my journey didn't start that way. I still remember the first time I sat in an English class. I was 16. The teacher asked me to introduce myself in English. I stood up. My heart was beating so fast. My palms were sweaty. And then I said the same line I had memorized from the book. My name is Alex. I read in class 10. I want to become an engineer. Everyone clapped. But deep down, I felt like a fake, because I didn't understand what I said. I didn't feel the language. I just copied it. And this went on for years. I would learn grammar. I would memorize vocabulary. I would write notes. But still, when someone spoke to me in English, real English, I would freeze. My mouth would stay shut. My brain would go blank. Have you ever felt that? It's like, you know the words, but when it's time to speak, nothing comes out. You feel stuck, embarrassed, helpless. One day, something strange happened. I was at a bus stop, and a little boy, maybe 4 or 5 years old, was sitting next to his mother. They were tourists, probably from the US. And the boy was talking nonstop in English. He said things like, "Mommy, look at that big red bus. Can I have ice cream now? I don't like waiting." I was just watching him, shocked, amazed. He was speaking so naturally, so fluently, so fearlessly. That little boy knew nothing about grammar, no rules, no books, no exams, yet he could express everything. He could describe, he could complain, he could laugh in English. And I thought to myself, how is this possible? That one moment opened a door in my mind, and I asked myself the most important question of my life. What if I try to learn English like a child? From that day on, I decided to forget everything I knew about traditional learning. I stopped thinking about grammar rules. I stopped memorizing vocabulary lists. Instead, I became a baby again, a baby in English. And my first rule was simple: just listen. I started listening to English like a child listens to their mother. Every morning while brushing my teeth, I played cartoons in English. Shows like Peppa Pig, Dora the Explorer, and Bluey. Yes, I know they're for kids, but they were slow, clear, full of daily words. At first, I didn't understand much, but I kept listening. I didn't pause. I didn't translate. I just listened like a baby listens, without pressure. just trusting that one day my brain would connect the dots. And you know what? After a few weeks, things started changing. Suddenly, I began feeling the meaning. Even without understanding every word, I could understand the situation, the emotion, the tone. One morning, I heard Peppa Pig say, "I'm not talking to you anymore." And I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I understood it. I understood it without thinking, without translation. That feeling, it was pure magic. So I continued, and I made rule number 2. Repeat everything like a child. Have you ever seen how kids repeat everything you say? If you say, "What are you doing?" they'll say it back, "What are you doing?" They copy without thinking. So I did the same. I picked one cartoon sentence every day and repeated it aloud 10 times. One day, "I want to go outside." Next day, "Let's play together." Then, "It's time to eat." I didn't just say them, I acted them out. I stood in front of the mirror, I smiled. I made faces, I played with the words. Slowly, those sentences became mine. I was no longer copying English. I was living it. Then came rule number 3. Speak without fear. You know how kids speak? They don't care about mistakes. They don't care if you laugh. They just speak. Wrong or right, doesn't matter. So I made a promise to myself. From today, I will speak every single day, no matter how bad I sound. At first, I spoke to myself. While cooking, "I'm cutting the tomato now. I need to boil the rice." Then I spoke to my pillow. "Good night, my friend. Did you sleep well?" I even named my chair, Mr. Lazy. "Hey, Mr. Lazy, you're always sitting here." It sounds funny, right? But that's how kids learn. Through play, through nonsense, through imagination. And I realized something powerful. It's not about being correct. It's about being confident. That was the biggest shift in my life. After 3 months, I saw something amazing. One day, I went to a small cafe where some tourists were having coffee. The waitress didn't understand them, so I walked up and said, "Hi, can I help you?" They smiled. "Yes, please. We want 2 black coffees and 1 apple pie." And just like that, I spoke back. No fear, no grammar mistakes in my head, just words, real communication. They said, "Wow, your English is good." And I smiled, not because they praised me, but because I didn't memorize that line. I felt it. I owned it. And the journey didn't stop. I added more childlike habits. I started singing English songs, even silly ones. I watched Disney movies with subtitles, then without. I made voice recordings of myself talking about my day. I wrote small stories about my dreams, my dog, my life. I played word games just like a child playing with toys. English became a part of me, not a subject, not a burden. It became my friend. Now, when people ask me, "How did you become fluent in English?" I don't say, "I studied hard." I say, "I became a child again." That's the real secret. Forget the fear. Forget the pressure. Just listen, repeat, play, and speak. Like a baby does. Like a curious child who sees language as a toy, not a test. After that small cafe triumph, I felt a burst of confidence. But I also realized I still had a long way to go. I wanted English to feel as natural as breathing, to think in it without translating a single thought. One rainy afternoon, I decided to take my learning outdoors. I grabbed an umbrella, my notebook, and headed to the nearest park. I found a bench beneath a large oak tree, sat down, and opened my notebook. On the top line, I wrote, "Today, I will describe everything I see and feel in English." I looked around and began my childlike commentary. The sky is full of dark clouds. The rain makes tiny splashes on the green grass. I hear children laughing somewhere near the slide. I smell wet earth and fresh leaves. As I spoke each sentence softly to myself, I realized something. I wasn't translating these thoughts from Hindi to English. I was thinking in English. It felt like a new superpower. Then a jogger ran past me, drenched and smiling. He slowed down enough to catch his breath and said, "Nice day for a run, huh?" in perfect, cheerful English. Without hesitation, I replied, "Absolutely." The rain makes it feel so fresh. We chatted for a minute about our favorite running routes, the best umbrellas, and how predictable the monsoon in Kolkata can be. When he waved goodbye, I felt that same thrill I'd felt at the cafe, but 10 times stronger, because this time it was completely spontaneous. That evening, I sat down to reflect in my English journal. I wrote, "Today, I spoke without fear. I described my world, and someone responded. I learned that English isn't just a school subject, it's a bridge to connect with people." Flipping back through earlier entries, I noticed my first journal entries were filled with elementary sentences. I eat rice, I see a car, I like tea. Now I was writing reflections, observations, even small arguments. It was amazing proof that the childlike method worked. A few weeks later, I decided to take another playful leap: story exchange. I joined an online pen pal group for language learners. My partner was Maria from Spain, and she was learning Hindi. We set a simple rule: write each other a 200-word story every week, in our target language. Use at least 5 new words or phrases you've learned. Don't worry about mistakes. We'll gently correct each other. My first story to Maria was about my day at the park. "Dear Maria, today I sat under a huge oak tree while the monsoon rain painted the world silver. I described the sky, the children's laughter, and the smell of wet earth. Suddenly, a friendly jogger joined my mini English playdate, and we chatted about the beauty of rain. It felt magical to share words with someone I'd never met. Your friend, Alex." Maria loved it and replied with a story about her grandmother teaching her to cook paella. Each week our stories grew more detailed, more colorful, and more heartfelt. In correcting her English, she introduced me to Spanish idioms. In correcting my Hindi, I discovered new expressions of home. It was a beautiful cultural exchange, just like children swapping toys, excited to share. Then came the biggest test of all: an impromptu presentation at my college's monthly meetup. I'd volunteered to speak about my language learning adventure, expecting to fumble through a short introduction. Instead, I found myself standing on stage, looking out at 50 curious faces, and I simply began, "Hello, everyone. Do you remember how you learned to speak as a child? The endless questions, the games, the songs. Well, that's exactly how I learned English, by listening like a baby, speaking without fear, and playing with words." What happened next felt surreal. I told them about watching Peppa Pig at 6 a.m., about talking to my cat in English, about that rainy day in the park. I demonstrated the shadowing technique by playing a brief audio clip and mimicking it live. At the end, the room erupted in applause, and that wasn't because I spoke flawlessly. It was because I spoke authentically. I spoke from my heart. Afterward, a senior professor came up to me and said, "Alex, you've inspired me to try this method myself. I've been teaching English literature for 20 years, but I never thought of learning like a child." His words convinced me that this approach wasn't just effective for learners, it could revolutionize how we all think about language. Emboldened by that experience, I took another playful step, learning through cooking shows. I love food, so I started watching simple English cooking tutorials, like making omelets, smoothies, or peanut butter sandwiches. As the host whisked eggs or chopped fruits, I followed along in my kitchen, narrating each action. Now I crack 2 eggs into the bowl. I whisk them until they're frothy. I heat a pan and add butter. The omelet sizzles. At first I had to pause and rewind often, but soon I found myself anticipating the host's words. I could almost hear, "And now we add the chopped onions," before it came. And by cooking the recipe with English instructions, I internalized verbs like whisk, saute, fold, and garnish, not as abstract vocabulary, but as living actions. One night my little sister, Nina, peeked into the kitchen. She saw me talking to the eggs and giggled. "Alex, who are you talking to?" I laughed and said, "I'm practicing English, Nina. Want to help?" She rolled her eyes at first, but soon she joined in. Me. "Nina, can you pass me the salt?" Nina. "Here you go." Me. "Thanks. Now say, 'I love cooking with you.'" Nina. "I love cooking with you." Within minutes, she was shadowing the cooking show host with me, laughing at our attempts to sound British or American, making funny accents, and delighting in every new word. My childlike methods had become our shared game. As months passed, English ceased to be something I studied. It became something I lived. I thought in English when I woke up. I dreamed in English. I made jokes, sang silly songs, narrated my life, and even wrote poems. Rain kisses the earth in a silver ballet, and I catch each drop in words of play. Okay, my poetry needs work, but you get the idea. I wasn't afraid to sound childish or imperfect. In fact, my most honest writing was often the most poetic. Now, nearly 2 years after I started this childlike adventure, I can look back and see how far I've come. My English is not perfect. Sometimes I still crave a precise word, or I stumble over a complex sentence. But those moments are tiny ripples in an ocean of fluent, joyful communication. Every time I trip over a tricky phrase, I remember the little boy at the bus stop and the cafe encounter. I remember my rainy park descriptions and late-night cooking monologues. And above all, I remember the secret. Learning a language the childlike way means listening first, speaking fearlessly, playing constantly, and following your curiosity wherever it leads. So, my dear friends, if you've been struggling, pause, take a deep breath, let go of the textbooks for a moment, find a cartoon, grab your favorite snack, and start playing in English. Because inside each of us is that fearless, curious child just waiting to speak. And once you let that child out, the whole world opens up. Alex, let me know if you'd like any illustrations, dialogue scripts, or a tailored practice worksheet to go along with Alex's story.